Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Whatever your time zone, welcome. This is AI Talk, and I am your host, Kevin Crane. Welcome to the show. Today, we'll be discussing the topic of leading your workforce through AI transformation. This is an important area for consideration because as AI shapes the workplace, leaders face a critical challenge, guiding their teams through the adoption of AI in ways that matter and managing that change with confidence and clarity. But how do you do it? In this session, we'll explore three key strategies. First, we'll explore ways to empower employees to contribute, collaborate, and take ownership of AI initiatives. Then we'll discuss ways that leaders can overcome and reduce the fear of AI among employees. And finally, techniques for effective change management to drive AI adoption. So get ready for another insightful discussion here on AI Talk that will equip you with the tools that you need to lead your workforce through this transition successfully. We're going to have a great session today and we're going to dive in. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone attending today. And that includes folks that are joining us on LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone. And hello, everyone joining us on Zoom today. Thank you, too. During the discussion today, we'd like to hear from you, too. So I'd like to encourage everyone attending today to participate. So join in with your comments in the chat section. And if you have a question along the way, just jump on in. I will attempt to get some of your questions into the flow. Now, let's get into our great panel of guests, starting with Ravi Chandu Umadaseti, a generative AI technical architect and product lead at Toyota North America. Ravi, welcome aboard. Where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kevin. Thanks so much for having me here. I'm from Plano, Texas. I work as an AI architect as well as product owner in Toyota North America.
Ravi, it's great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Also today we have Rakesh Sharma. Rakesh is a transformation expert, executive and an expert in data and AI. Rakesh, welcome to the show today. Where are you calling in from?
Thanks, Kevin. I'm calling in from Miami, Florida, and I lead data and AI transformation.
Very good, Rakesh. Thank you so much for joining us today. Also with us is Jared Reimer, lead AI architect at the University of Washington. Jared, where are you calling in from today?
Would you believe Seattle?
I guessed it. I wasn't going to say, but I've assumed Seattle. Welcome aboard. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, so it's great to have another West Coaster with us today. All right, gentlemen. Well, welcome to the panel today. It's going to be a great discussion. I'd like to start our conversation by directing our attention to an article published recently by Entrepreneur titled From Knowledge to Allocation: How AI Agents Are Reshaping the Economy. The article discusses the transition from a knowledge-based economy to one they call an allocation economy driven by agentic AI. These are autonomous systems capable of executing tasks without detailed human guidance. Now, this is an important shift. We often think about generative AI in our discussions, but AI, or agentic AI specifically, can now handle tasks like data analysis and strategic planning and so forth. Consequently, the workforce must adapt by developing competencies to oversee these AI agents effectively. Ravi, I'd like to start with you. What are your thoughts on the article and the impact of agentic AI?
Of course, I think this is one of an amazing area where everyone needs to pitch in terms of especially on the agents. So I think from Toyota standpoint, I think we are doing a lot of amazing work in AI agents, especially using some of the frameworks like LangGraph, Crew AI, and AutoGen. So we have extensively working on building the agent. I would say I would call an agent as a function, which means it given a task, it goes and does the task and then comes back and then give us a response. So that's called an AI agent in a simple terms. So in from our perspective, from my perspective, I would say AI agents is the next. I think I would say it's the future now, which is going on. It's not even the next future; it's going on. So I would highly recommend. I think one should start building a lot of AI agents uh, in their workforce, so that it's like again, the next coming area is like also the agentic AI, which we are talking about, everyone talking about. So we should build a lot of agents that can be reused inside the industry as well. Not just building agents, but also can be able to build the agents that can be able to reuse these agents accordingly. I think that's one thing which I would say. And the second thing which I would also do is, since we have every day we have a lot of models coming out, like GPT-4 or the new models like Anthropic, Claude 3.7, which is very good at the code. So I think all these models which comes in, it's not about the modeling, but it's also about the frameworks that you create internally within your organization. So that's very important aspect that we should also taken care of.
Now, Rakesh, what are your thoughts on the article? And do you agree that AI agents or agentic AI will be reshaping the economy?
So I agree with Ravi. I think agentic AI is reshaping the economy. It will change the way, organizations work or the teams within companies work, right? One thing which the article was focusing on was how the kind of work is reshaping within organizations. Now, people are not just AI makers or code makers or process makers, right? They're all overseers or managers of these AI agents, right? They're asking these AI agents to do some work and then overseeing, if it was done correctly or not, right? I think we are entering an era where, I mean, you had employees, managers, right? Employees were doing the work, managers directing. I think we are getting into an era where everybody is directing the work, right? So you would see tremendous gain in productivity, reduction in errors, right? Reduction in fatigue, a lot of innovation coming out because employees will be freed up from doing the monotonous work which AI agents will take over, right? And then there will be room for creativity. So very excited about it, right? It's going to change how we work, how different teams collaborate. I think you would see more collaboration across teams, the business teams, the IT teams, engineering teams, etc.
Mhm.
Right? I think it'll be great transformation of businesses.
We are at a pivotal time. Now, Jared, what are your thoughts on the article? And what are your thoughts about the idea of transitioning from a knowledge-based economy to an allocation economy?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the key thing to note here, we're in the top of the second inning of the first game of the World Series. So this is just the very beginning of what is going to be probably the most dramatic transformation, certainly in our lifetimes and maybe in a century or more. I think one of the key differences, I think Jensen from NVIDIA said, in the future, IT will be the HR of agents. And that really resonated with me. I think the shift here is IT in particular, shifting from providing tools and platforms and infrastructure to solving business problems with AI. So the very nature of the work, especially for IT professionals, is going to change. But more broadly, I think knowledge work, white collar jobs, will shift from task oriented to outcome oriented. And the measurement or the way that we judge outcomes will be efficiency, accuracy, how many of them you can deliver in what period of time, perhaps concurrently. All of that really comes down to how you harness and manage and intelligently use agents. Right now, it's very, very primitive and rudimentary. The agents have limited agency. They cannot do all the things that a human can do in the real world, but that's going to change very, very quickly. And the people that are quick to embrace it will have a massive competitive advantage. The people that do not embrace it or fight it, I think, are going to be at a severe disadvantage, especially in knowledge work and white collar and especially software development, that kind of job. So.
Well, the article is from Entrepreneur, and it is called From Knowledge to Allocation, How AI Agents Are Reshaping the Economy. The link is over here in the chat feature, everybody. Go ahead and take a look at the article and let us know what you think about the article. Did it miss something important that we should consider? What are your thoughts on agentic AI and AI agents? Do you think it will reshape the economy? How is it reshaping your organization and what you do today? We'd be curious to hear your thoughts as well. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for that. I'd like to move us on to our first discussion point today, for our session today, and that is empowering employees to contribute, collaborate, and take ownership of AI initiatives. This is an important topic. A recent McKinsey report highlights that 62% of employees aged 35 to 44 report high levels of expertise with AI, positioning them as natural champions for AI-driven transformation within their organizations. The trick is leveraging that talent. Ravi, how can leaders create an environment where employees feel encouraged to contribute to AI-driven initiatives? And really, how can leaders and organizations leverage this talent and this high level of expertise within the organization already?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kevin. I think as leaders, I think we should encourage all the team members to use AI tools within the ecosystem that we have, like Copilot that we have from Microsoft, also like GitHub Copilot. So that's where they see the power of some of the people who doesn't even. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows ChatGPT now, but some of them who, from business standpoint, who are not even aware of ChatGPT, will understand how much impact it will make. So we should, as a leaders, I think we should encourage everyone to use these tools, and then once they start using these particular tools in their daily life, they will understand the impact that it's gonna make, as well as it will also help them to understand, okay, what the next thing that they can able to focus on. They will get a lot of ideas using these existing tools as well. I think that's highly one thing I highly recommend in terms of for every leader that for every company that should evolve.
All right. Well, when it comes to innovation of any kind, whether it's with AI or any technology or really any process improvement, it really comes down to how effectively the organization can foster collaboration and cross-functional collaboration. Rakesh, what are some practical ways that you can suggest organizations foster this kind of cross-functional collaboration, especially with respect to AI adoption?
So, as I was saying earlier, there is all these agents, different Gen AI things, and even before that, right? Your traditional AI systems. A lot of it impacts business, right? I mean, we have had teams work in data teams, data science teams create some of these solutions. With the advancements in agents, I believe that business can impact the growth tremendously, right? I think two things which are important is increasing AI literacy or awareness within team, right? I mean, I think a lot of people know what it can do, but there is still a gap of the harm it can do, right? And for organizations to adopt AI in a responsible way, the core principles are that, hey, you shouldn't have bias in your systems. You should have them, perform ethically, and have guardrails around what it can and cannot do. Creating cross-functional teams where business teams are sitting with engineering or data science teams to co-create some of these solutions, that is important, right? So one, make everyone aware of the power of AI, but also the downside, what can happen if it goes wrong, right? How to supervise or how to monitor what it's doing. And then creating these cross-functional teams that will enable the rapid advancement in what they're trying to build. Another thing I would say is give access to some of these AI tools to broader teams, right? So that they are able to experiment, they're able to touch and feel these AI systems, maybe create some of these smaller agents themselves, so they have the feel of it, right? And then I think last I would say that celebrate some of those small successes, right? That helps percolate, the knowledge within the enterprise. And that will help you when you go run these design sessions where you're trying to generate ideas for innovations or process re-engineering to simplify things like that. So these are the steps I would take, right? And this is what people I speak to, that they take to then generate that environment of innovation within their enterprise.
Now, Jared, when it comes to building cross-functional team effectiveness, what are some leadership qualities that are most essential for guiding these teams, especially through an AI-driven transformation? And how can we adopt them? How can leaders develop those skills?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing to realize, AI adoption is going to be bottom up. I think one of the common misperceptions is that this will be a set of tools that are handed down from above, and everyone will be given these tools and required or expected to use them. What we're seeing right now is, in the absence of that, people are going out and finding their own tools. There's great risk in this because some of those tools may not be beneficial, some of them may be harmful. So I think the key things here, first, providing trusted solutions and the tooling to solve your own business problems, not assuming that the leadership knows all of the small problems that people have day to day that can be solved with AI, but instead giving them the tool set they need and the training and support they need to create their own solutions with the technology. With that comes, of course, the need for guardrails. You don't want people doing things inadvertently or deliberately that cause harm, data leaks, privacy issues, security incidents. So when you provide these tools, they need to be done thoughtfully,
Mhm.
but they really should be seen as a way to empower individual contributors to solve their own problems rather than some sort of mandated tool like everyone gets Copilot 365 and that's the end of it. One thing that we've seen really effectively is a community of practice or a center of excellence, where you have a group within the organization of experienced people who are passionate about the subject, who have direct experience, and who are willing to mentor and share and collaborate with others. If your organization does not already have this, the sooner that you start to build it, the better. I think you'll find that there are already people within the organization with these skills and with this interest and the willingness to share. So assembling a community of practice or a center of excellence to me would be one of the most important first steps, along with providing tools and platforms for people to build with.
You know, Jared, I think you make an important point. We've heard about the effectiveness of a center of excellence for years, even before the advent of AI. It's important to establish a balance between employee autonomy, like you said, having employees take ownership of AI initiatives and the tools that they use, but also have a structure for AI implementation and to put those guardrails in. As you mentioned, I'll put this out to the entire group. What are some suggestions for leaders to build that balance between allowing employees autonomy, but also having some appropriate guardrails in place? Anyone have some suggestions for our listeners that might be struggling with that?
So I agree with Jared, right? I think setting up this center of excellence. And one thing I was telling, the need for the training of the side effects or the disadvantages or the risks it poses. I think center of excellence originally, what we have seen, they have been technology focused, right? I think we need a center of excellence which not only has technology people but also business people, right? Um, Having those small wins and then sharing that, I think you need some sort of center of excellence running office hours kind of things, right? I mean, a close match, I would say people are probably familiar with, when you have data governance, committees, quality.
All right, we are getting a question here, gentlemen, from Bill in our audience today. Bill, thank you for your question and your comment today. Bill is saying change management is important as we move from experimentation to adoption. We should strive for effective organic adoption. Ravi, do you have some suggestions for Bill on how we might foster that effective organic adoption that he's talking about?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Bill. So I think what I would recommend, what I would say is AI does not replace leadership; it enhances it. So I think leaders should always have that final say of how we use AI as a strategic advisor rather than unchecked authority, right? So I think we should have that effective organic adoption across the enterprise. with standard guardrails in place, as Jared mentioned, right? So we should have these guardrails in place, and we should make sure that whatever basically it's not AI should work for everyone. It's not against anyone, right? So we must implement safe guardrails to ensure fairness in whatever we are trying to build in across the organizations.
All right, very good. Rakesh, welcome back. You dropped out for a moment there. We welcome you back. All right, gentlemen, I'd like to move us on to our next discussion point today, and that is the topic of reducing fear and creating a positive foundation for learning and experimentation. Look, this is a topic that's, I think, critically important for all of us today. According to a survey by Ernst & Young, 75% of employees are concerned that AI will make certain jobs obsolete. 65% are anxious about AI replacing their very own jobs. So, Rakesh, how can organizations build a culture that encourages experimentation, but also alleviates the fear of AI replacing your job?
So first of all, I wouldn't discount that AI can take away some jobs, right? I think the jobs we know today, they're not going to remain, same, 1 year, 2 year, or 5 years down the line. The jobs will reshape, which translates that the people in the workforce today, they will have to relearn and learn to work with the new tools and technologies, right? So, and I think in our previous segment, we spoke a lot about how training is important for the employees of today. We were reviewing this article in Entrepreneur, and that was like, hey, change is happening from being the knowledge worker to uh, the folks who are, asking these AI agents to this allocation worker, right? Who are allocating tasks to these AI agents. I think when you're training your workforce on the capabilities of these AI agents, communicate in very plain language, not technical language, because most of the people who are going to get impacted or who will have to rethink how they work today are not necessarily the technology workers, they are a lot of business workers, right? So communicate in simpler language, which is easy for everybody to understand. We also saw that all these AI agents, humans still need to allocate tasks to them, supervise them, monitor them. That's the training you need to provide to the workforce. And once they know that they are still needed, maybe a little bit differently, how they were working, say, last year to what they will be working next year. I think that will alleviate some of the concerns. That will also, create time for them to do nicer, better things versus the mundane things. So that I believe that that will help them feel better when they are looking to do innovation that will make their life easier. Uh, those are the kind of conversations you need to be having with your workforce.
Now, Jared,
Empower them to do some of these experimentation, do these smaller. Did I lose you guys again?
you may be dropping out periodically, Rakesh. I'm not certain what's going on there, but please go ahead.
So I think what I was closing is having that trust that they're needed in a different format, and then their value is going to elevate within the organization, is going to take away that fear factor, right? Um, and then I think the asks what we were discussing in our previous segment, having these cross-functional teams, having some of these innovation stuff, right? I think that will be a big step in making sure that organizations are making their employees feel empowered.
Now, Jared, and I'll really put this out to the entire group. I mean, should people really be worried about their jobs? I mean, one of the things that we often say when we talk about AI and process improvement, agentic AI, especially now, is that folks will be relieved of the mundane, sort of repetitive tasks, and then be allowed to be repurposed and educated, retrained to do more meaningful tasks. But isn't it really more likely that teams of people will simply be let go because of the ability to replace people with agentic AI, for example, or Gen AI?
I
And
think,
if so,
of
what
course,
should leaders be doing about that?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some, refactoring and retooling of the labor force, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's going to be extremely disruptive in the immediate term. So, sub 5 year time horizon, I think we should assume there's going to be a lot of change. The right way to think of this is a grand opportunity. It's not a threat. It's a once in a lifetime chance to really upskill and up level, move up, not move out, free yourself from toil, increase your productivity such that you can reclaim some of that time for yourself, for your health, for your family, and you can work on more challenging and interesting problems. So, with any major disruption, there will be winners and losers, and this is a deliberate choice. If you choose to embrace it and go all in on it and harness the power of it, it's the most empowering thing maybe in our lifetimes. Fighting it, ignoring it, resisting it, these are losing strategies that will not work. So the sooner that you embrace this wholeheartedly and make yourself work with the tools and technology, even when it feels unnatural or hard, that's really the key here, because the technology is going to keep moving faster. And the longer that you wait to really, really get with it, the harder it's going to be and the further behind you're going to be. So if you're not already figuring out how to use AI all day, every day in your ordinary course of business and work, if you're not one of the thought leaders and one of the people driving it forward, maybe consider that should be your next move, because those are the people that I think are going to be not only fireproof, but are elevated in the age of AI. Whereas the folks who fail to embrace it effectively will become inefficient by comparison. And those are the ones that, when there is retrenchment and retooling, I think are at most risk. So my belief is you've got to go all in.
All right, folks, we have another comment and question from our audience today. Does it make sense to have end user representation on the design team so that they can convey the concept of enablement as opposed to replacement? Can we level the set of FTEs through attrition as opposed to reduction in force? We are targeting high turnover areas for this reason. Training is expensive. Anyone have a comment about this idea of enablement as opposed to replacement?
Yeah, sure, I can take that. I think we should be transparent of what the AI adoption is. Employees should understand when, how, when, why AI is being implemented. So no surprises. Only with the clarity is important. And to answer Bill's question is, we should have some kind of what I would recommend is we should have, since training is I would say training is expensive, but there is a lot of resources across in YouTube where people can still learn a lot of things. So as a leaders, I think we should create some new AI hackathons and challenges across our teams, come up with new hackathon ideas that also gives the companies elevated growth, also encourages employees to find a new ways of AI in their roles as well, to make how they can able to enable the AI inside their existing work that they are trying to work on. That way, I think one is people like frequent hackathons and recognizing people who are really competing in AI, and then giving them elevated growth that enables every other employees as well. So that I think that's what the high recommendation which I would do for Bill.
All right, very good. We are here today with Ravi Chandu Umadesetti, Rakesh Sharma, and Jared Reimer. We're here talking about leading your workforce through AI transformation. If you have a question or a comment for our panel today, jump on in, pop it into the chat feature. I will be looking there and trying to get some of your comments and questions into the flow of the show. Gentlemen, I'd like to move us on now to our third discussion point, and that is effective change management when embarking on AI transformation. This is sort of related to what we've been talking about. A Gallup study reveals that only 15% of employees feel their organization has communicated a clear plan for integrating AI into their current business practices, and this underscores the need for effective change management communication. Jared, what are some strategies that leaders can use to create excitement rather than resistance to AI?
Yeah, so I think the key things here, you need to reduce fear. You need to give people a positive mindset about this. And most importantly, build confidence through experience. Give them a trusted environment, clear rules, examples to work from, internal or external experts who they can work with so that they gain confidence and experience. Again, top-down mandates aren't going to work. Telling people, here's your Copilot license, just go run with it. What we've seen anecdotally is that very few people actually use them. What you need to do instead is empower people to work with the tools that solve their own problems. I think of this as a buffet of carrots and not sticks. So we don't know which carrot each person needs to do their job. Different people have different requirements and different job functions. The job of the leadership is to provide them with a buffet of trusted carrots, right? Trusted solutions, trusted tools that they feel confident are safe and sanctioned and aren't going to get them in trouble. Because the alternative is either they do nothing, which puts the business behind and the worker, or they go out and find things on the internet, which sometimes goes well and sometimes causes catastrophic disaster. So support and encouragement, not punishment, not coercion, deliberate empowerment. Like, this is for your good. This is for you. It's not just for the company's good. The right people are going to see this as a once in a lifetime opportunity, and they're going to want to do it. They're going to be held back by fear of consequence, fear of screwing up, fear of punishment, fear of job loss. If it's not a safe and welcoming and trustworthy environment where they feel like they can't lose, where they're not being set up to fail, people will do amazing things. I mean, I've seen this firsthand. I've seen people solve problems that I would never have thought to apply AI to because they know their jobs better than I do, right? Everyone knows what problems they face day to day. The key is giving them the ability and the equipment and the support to be at their best. Threatening them with job loss is the wrong approach. It's giving them hope and optimism that this is the greatest thing maybe in their entire career and a once in a lifetime opportunity.
I think for leaders, the challenge is really effectively communicating that vision, that a vision of the future where people fit into that vision. Rakesh, you're a transformation executive. And what are some strategies that leaders can use to portray the benefits of AI adoption to them as employees and to the organization as a whole?
So what I have noticed is that if you explain why you're doing certain things, I think that makes people understand your motives much better than when you just go and tell, hey, do this, do that, and things will fall in place. I think leaders have to start with the why this change, you know, and understand this. A lot of this change is happening not in IT, not in engineering, but in business processes, in front office, in back office, in customer support and marketing and whatnot, right? All these departments are interdependent on each other. So explain the intricacies, why and how a change in a department will impact the other department, right? So start with why, and then explain it in a very easy language because you're now communicating across various groups, across different capability and skill level, right? A back office person, front office person, their skills are very different. So make your communication a language which is understandable for everyone. And third thing I would say is that work on creating collaboration and partnership within these departments, right? Explain that how changes in each of these departments, minute changes, will make life easier for the whole process within the organization, right? That increases collaboration across groups and will generate innovation, will generate better outcomes for just not just for one department but across other departments as well, right? And last but not the least, I would highlight very strongly the human element. Most of AI systems built today, they have human in the loop, right, for safety reasons. Get that while you're communicating why we are doing this, why it is important to collaborate across groups. Also explain why their involvement is very critical for the success of the program, right? I think these steps will portray the message very clearly why we are on this journey and how all these employees in these different groups are very, very critical, their involvement to the success of these initiatives. That's how I would approach it, for an overall transformation of organization with agentic AI, with Gen AI, with AI, right? All of those things follow more or less same pattern of communicating the change within the organization.
Well, all right. So you have to have a clear vision of the future, where people fit into it, and clearly communicate that to your organization, the people within the organization. I think the other part of that is measuring the success. I mean, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so, Ravi, what are some strategies that leaders can use to measure the success of AI adoption and then make those measurements known about the continuous improvements to folks in the organization?
Yeah, so in terms of measuring success, I think I can give an example of in what we have done in Toyota, where we have a beautiful use case where in the manufacturing line, if the manufacturing line stops, there are a lot of vehicles that's gonna stop product producing. So we have basically what we have identified from the existing team members is there's lack of knowledge in terms of where exactly each component, each productive system is. So that's where what we pitched in is we pitched in something a beautiful idea called Gearpol, which our team, Braden and team came up with this idea. And then I think what we have done is we created a kind of a chat GPT for them where they can just go there and then ask any questions for the particular area, and the response comes back with the results that okay, how you can able to solve this production line engine. So I think that tool that we have enabled it. I think the cost that we have uh, kept in. I think it's way more than what we got as an output. I'm sure that it may not be the case in all the scenarios, but in this scenario that we have solved is really that's where the generative AI, we see the power of generative AI. I think we also when we are focusing on this one, we had make sure that we are transparent, and we are also engaging with the existing resources that okay, it's not replacing you, it's helping you to solve your challenges, and we are making sure that we are inspiring them just by providing a growth opportunity that how you can able to use the existing generative AI that into our core missions. Also, we are supporting them in terms of reskilling up because they're every day using the same tool, right? So they can able to use this existing one as well. So I think these are the four protocols which I would highly recommend for every leader. Is we should be transparent, we should be engaged, we should inspire, and we should supportive. Yeah, I think that's what I'll take on the question.
All right, we are here today. This is AI Talk. We're talking about leading your workforce through AI transformation. We're here with Ravi Chandu Umbidassetti, Rakesh Sharma, and Jared Reimer. Gentlemen, I don't know where our time went today, but we have reached the action item round of the program. I'm wondering if you can provide us with one quick action item that our viewers can use to take advantage of the ideas and advice today. Rakesh, I'd like to start with you today. Do you have an action item for us?
Absolutely, right? Explain your why, empower your users, right? And work with your users to define the success criteria of these programs, right? The measurement criteria, what are you going to measure, right? There's of course a corporate, but then also work with your employees on how they view the success as. I think these three things should be done very quickly.
All right, very good. That is Rakesh Sharma. He is a transformation executive and an expert in data and AI. Rakesh, thank you so much for being with us today. Ravi, do you have an action item for us?
Yeah, sure. I think we should make sure that we establish a clear and transparent communications that we do, and then we engage and listen to what the employee needs, and build an upskilling and career growth for everyone who wanted to uh, build themselves in the AI, and we should position as an AI enabler rather than getting into fear of questions of job replacement. And we should drive cultural alignment across the organization.
That is Ravi Chandu Umidsetti. He is a generative AI technical architect and product lead for Toyota North America. Ravi, thank you so much for being with us today. And also with us today has been Jared Reimer. Jared, do you have an action item for us today?
You bet. So the reality is agents are already here. You may not see them yet, but this is going to be slowly and then suddenly. It's a one-way door and there's no turning back. This is absolutely going to happen. You individually must embrace it or you risk becoming unemployable. You need to own it. You need to build the muscle memory. And that means putting in the work every single day, even when it feels unnatural. I do this myself. I make myself work with the tools, even in scenarios where it feels illogical or maybe like it's not the best fit. Do it as if the future of your career and your company depend on it, because they do.
That is Jared Reimer. He is a lead AI architect at the University of Washington. Jared, thank you so much for being with us today. Jared, Rakesh, Ravi, it's been great having you on the show today. What a great panel. Your perspectives and advice were spot on, so thank you so much. I hope we get a chance to talk again soon. And to everyone joining us today, thank you too. Join us again next week on March 11th when we have another great panel of guests discussing the topic of adopting a safer, more secure approach to AI. That should be another great discussion. In the meantime, if you'd like to find me, you can do so on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect there, so check me out. I'm Kevin Crane, and you can check out my weekly audio podcast, the Digital Transformation Podcast. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of AI Talk. And until next week, I'm Kevin Crane saying thanks for watching.